Deep in the African bush, far from towns and roads, lived a woman named Emma. She wasn't famous. She didn't post pictures. She simply healed. From injured antelopes to poisoned birds, her hands had soothed pain most never see. Years ago, she found a nearly dead lion cub, its ribs showing, flies circling its wounds. Others thought it would die. But Emma didn't give up. Day by day, she fed it, cleaned it, and stayed beside it through the night. When the cub finally stood again, it looked into her eyes with something more than instinct. It remembered, and it never forgot. Years passed. The lion, now grown and scarred by battles of the wild, hadn't been seen near the village in seasons. Locals whispered that it had returned to the deeper forests, becoming a ghost of the grasslands. But one evening, just as the sun melted into the horizon, villagers saw a silhouette on the hill, tall, majestic, and unmistakable. It was him. Emma, now older and frilier, stood at her cottage doorway, eyes welling up. The lion stepped forward slowly, not with the hunger of a beast, but with the soul of something, searching. He had come back, not as an animal, but as a witness. The villagers gathered at a cautious distance, watching in disbelief as the lion approached Emma's doorstep, calm, composed, and deliberate. He didn't roar, didn't growl. Just stood still, eyes locked with the woman who once saved his life. Emma stepped forward, her hand trembling, gently resting it on his mane. The moment was silent, heavy like the wind before a storm. It was as if time paused. A deep, aching bond had survived the wild, the years, the silence. That night, as a storm brewed over the savannah, the lion refused to leave. He lay by her doorstep under pouring rain, guarding her home like a sentinel of memory. Days turned into nights, and Emma's health quickly faded. The once vibrant ranger now lay quietly in her bed, her breath shallow, her skin pale. The village nurse came and went, but Emma hardly responded. Yet outside her window, the lion remained. He didn't move far, just circled the house, resting only when she rested, standing when her pain grew. The villagers whispered, calling it a miracle or madness, but none dared interfere. Emma, in her final lucid moment, turned toward the window and smiled. "He's still here," she whispered. "He never forgot." Outside, the lion softly growled, as if to answer. The sky turned a soft gray as dawn arrived. A cool breeze rustled the trees, and the birds remained unusually quiet. Inside her modest cabin, Emma took her final breath, peaceful, silent, and alone, or so it seemed. Outside, the lion stood motionless, staring at the door. As if he sensed something, he walked closer, sat down, and let out a deep, mournful sigh. Villagers who came to check on Emma found her lifeless and the lion unmoved. He didn't growl or flee. He simply sat there, watching, guarding, as if waiting for one last goodbye from the only soul who ever truly saw him. Emma's body was gently wrapped in white linen, placed in a simple wooden coffin by teary-eyed villagers who respected her selfless service to wildlife. As they carried her toward the small grove near her home, the lion followed silently, each step heavy with grief. At the burial site, when the final handful of soil was laid, the lion didn't move. He sat beside the grave, eyes fixed on the mound of earth, as if guarding a treasure no one else could understand. Hours passed, people whispered, but he remained, still, silent, sorrowful. A loyal soul unwilling to let go. Night fell quietly over the grove. The wind rustled the trees, but the lion did not stir. He stayed beside Emma's grave, his head resting gently on the earth, eyes half closed but watchful. Villagers brought him water and food, but he refused to eat. His mourning was quiet, but deeply visible, a creature once wild, now broken by grief. By morning, dew covered his mane, and he was still there, unmoving. Some wept at the sight. It wasn't just loyalty. It was love, ancient and wordless. The villagers watched in awe as the lion slowly stood, his legs trembling with fatigue. He looked at Emma's grave one last time, then lifted his head to the sky and let out a soft, aching roar, more of a whisper than a cry. It wasn't rage. It was remembrance. A final goodbye. Then, with heavy steps, he turned toward the forest, as if carrying Emma's memory within him. Days passed, but the villagers couldn't forget what they'd seen. Then, one misty morning, as the fog curled around the gravesite, the lion returned. He didn't roar or wander. He simply lay down beside Emma's grave, his eyes distant, tired, yet peaceful. No longer just a beast, he was a guardian of her memory. His loyalty etched itself into the heart of every witness. The sun began to set, casting golden rays over the quiet field. The lion remained motionless by Emma's grave, his soft breaths blending with the evening breeze. Villagers gathered at a distance, silently watching this sacred farewell. Hours passed, yet the lion didn't move. Then, with one final glance, he stood, eyes shimmering with sorrow, and disappeared into the forest. But he would return again, and again. Not for food, not for shelter, but for love. A love that outlived life itself. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Animal Survival Stories.